everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Natalia Leigh. I'm an indie author and the managing editor at Enchanted Publishing, and today I am officially starting the first round of developmental editing on my first draft of a paranormal romance. So I am very, very excited to start the editing process, and I already know that my developmental revision process is going to be very different this time around than it has been for any of my other books. Now, you might know this if you've been here for a while, but if not, to get you caught up, I have written, I think, 7 or 8 books at this point. I currently have 4 published, and of those 4 I have published, my developmental editing step has been different for every single one. Now, I know that in previous videos I've said that the first step for me is always putting the manuscript away, letting it sit for a while, and then coming back to it fresh. But I am not doing that this time, and one of the reasons is that I have had a very difficult time getting back into a writing routine ever since going full-time with freelance editing. So the fact that I even finished writing a book is mind-blowing and amazing to me, and I really want to keep with this momentum and the excitement for the story and just roll with it. I don't want to let it sit and lose my momentum and lose my interest. So we are going to pull out my computer, which is back there. We are going to start reading through this first draft, and I hope this wind isn't too loud. So we're going to pull out my first draft, grab my computer, and my goal is going to be to read through the book and leave myself comments, and I'm going to be doing this via Microsoft Word. I used to order a proof copy. Some people will print out their entire manuscript and do it by hand, and I used to enjoy that process, and it used to be really fun just to see and feel my book in my hands and to feel like, okay, I actually did this tangible thing. But I have learned that it is much easier for me to leave comments to myself via Microsoft Word's comment function. So that is what I'm going to be doing. It's going to move a lot faster. I won't have to handwrite things, and it's easy to highlight exactly what I'm talking about and then just pop it into a little comment bubble the exact same way I do for all of my editing clients. So let's go ahead, wrap up this intro. I have a big glass of water back there. It's been hot here, and I just came in from mowing the pasture. So I'm gonna drink some water, grab a snack, and we're going to start the first round of developmental revisions on my paranormal romance. Let's get started. Okay, it is 6:15. I have been working pretty diligently this whole time, and I am on page 26. I have definitely left myself a few comments in the margins, just things to think about and to remember when I come across plot points later in the book. There are just some plot points that I need to weave together because I kind of started a few threads and then they never went anywhere. So I am leaving notes for myself about that, but I'm also finding that I am revising a lot, like not in terms of changing the story at all, but just doing exactly what I thought I was going to be doing, and that is expanding upon what is already there. I talked in my previous video and many others about how I have become an underwriter, and this book was at just over 50,000 words when I finished it. And at this point, I'm only about 70 words away from hitting 51K, and I'm only on page 26. So I wouldn't be surprised if I added, I don't know, 5,000 words or so to this project, to this manuscript by the time I'm done. It's much easier this time around as I am reading over these chapters. It's much easier to add details because I have now spent an entire book in 50,000 words in this world and with these characters. So I can picture it more clearly. I can understand the characters better. Their dialogue is coming a bit easier to me, and dialogue is always a bit tricky So all is going well. Like I said, I'm on page 26. It's 6:15. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for now, go and make myself some dinner, and hopefully I will get back to my developmental revision tomorrow. If so, I will see you then. Sashi? What? Oh, is it a hard life? Yes, it's a hard life. Yeah. You're so cute. Love you. Yeah. Hello friends, happy Saturday. I am continuing my developmental revision vlog. Today is Saturday, it's just after 1 o'clock. I just finished doing some yoga, so my hair is all frumpy, but it's all good. So I am going to get back into my developmental revisions today, but first I think I am going to spend a little bit of time doing some judging for the Page Turner Awards. I am a judge this year for them, and I'm judging the Young Writer Award. I have judged with them once before. I really loved it, and they gave me the opportunity again. I have judged 2 entries already. I think I have about 10 more to go. So I'm going to go ahead and judge 1 or 2, probably grab some lunch, and then we are going to dive into developmental revisions of my paranormal romance. So let's get started. Okay, I was just getting started working on my developmental revisions after my judging when a gigantic strike of thunder hit. There was like a surge that knocked the power out, and then it came right back on. And then Greg and I rushed outside and put helmets on as many of my plants as we could. We have been having so much hail this season. Last summer we didn't have nearly as much hail, and the first summer we were here, we moved here in mid-August, and I don't know if we had any hail the first year we were here. So everything is covered in helmets right now, but I'm going to have to definitely come up with a different plan because my plants are getting way too big for plant helmets. It seems maybe like the hail might be done. The sun just came out. The horses just went out to graze. They've been going crazy with the flies. So yeah, I'm gonna settle back in now and see if we can get some pages read and commentary left for myself for developmental revisions. Hello again, friends. It is Tuesday, July 18th. I haven't worked on my book in a few days now, but it is about 8:30, and I wanted to do a half hour or so of work and thought I would sit down and film. So I am currently on page 43 out of, okay, Mew just typed all over my computer. I'm currently on page 43 out of 142. So I have about 100 more pages left to kind of read and review. Now, thus far, I'm not sure if I said this in any of my previous clips, this is the first round of developmental revisions. However, there haven't been that many. There have certainly been details that needed changed or updated to align in terms of consistency with the rest of the book. So thankfully, I had already left comments to myself while I was writing because I was remembering that I was essentially writing inconsistent details. So with those marginal comments, I've been able to really easily smooth out anything that was inconsistent so far. I haven't had any big revisions yet, but of course I'm only on page 43 and I still have 100 more to go. However, I don't see there being a lot of heavy content revision in this because I did have an outline. I stuck pretty close to that outline, and yeah, we're just gonna see how this goes. This draft is currently sitting at 51,372 words, and the first draft is 50,177 words. So I've added 1,195 words so far in those first 42 pages. And I apologize if the fan is really loud in the background. Our house does not have air conditioning, which is usually fine because we live in the mountains, very high elevation in Colorado. But this summer has been hot, so we have all of our fans running. Anyway, I have added 1,195 words so far, and I'm just gonna dive right back in on this first round of developmental revisions. Hello friends, and happy Friday. Today is Friday, July 21st. Yesterday on the 20th of July, Thursday, I sat down and meant to film, but my camera died and I was just so involved in the revision process that I didn't even get up to change out the battery. But today is Friday, and yesterday I did so many pages of this like first read through and developmental revision, and it is going so well. It's kind of it's a very different experience with this book because I feel like I have the least amount of developmental changes to make out of any book I've ever written. If you look back years ago when I was writing Pistol Daisy, I talked about how that was the easiest book I had ever written, which I don't know at this point now if Pistol Daisy was the easiest or if this one, this paranormal romance, was the easiest. The paranormal romance certainly took me much longer because of all the work that I had to do that, you know, just daily work that, you know, gets in the way of creative processes. But Pistol Daisy had a lot of developmental revisions that had to happen, and even when I was super close to publishing Pistol Daisy, I put it through another round of developmental revisions because I knew it wasn't quite there yet. And that is the strongest book I've ever published. I adore Daisy, and I have so much planned for her in terms of the rest of her series, but at the same time I really have put her and her stories on a pedestal, so they've become more difficult to write. But this book now that I'm working on has very little developmental revision that I've needed to do to it. I have definitely had to make some revisions in terms of consistency. Like, I accidentally wrote 2 first kisses for my main characters. That obviously doesn't work, so I had to make that revision. There were some little details that just didn't make sense to the overall plot or to the relationships between characters. So there have been small continuity and consistency things that I've had to revise, but honestly it has been rather minimal. The bulk of the work I'm doing at this point is adding more detail. I knew going into the revision process that the word count was going to grow, and it has. So I am currently sitting at about 52,500 words, and I am on page 95 out of 143. So it has not grown as much as I thought it was going to. I think it's been about 2,000 words. At this point, I'm wondering if it'll even hit 55K. I definitely do not see it hitting 60K. So I'm pretty confident in saying we're gonna be probably around 55,000 when I finish up this second draft. Now, at that point, I am considering shifting gears and starting on the first draft of the second book. I have, if you know me or know the books that I have out, I have never published a series. I have intended to. Pistol Daisy was always meant to be a series, but her story, like I said, is like on a pedestal for me, and I have written and rewritten Whiskey City multiple times, and it just has not come together yet. So I don't yet know my process for writing a series. So I might go ahead and dive into book 2, potentially, while also line editing book 1. I'm not sure. I'm gonna let you know how that goes, but at this point, I think one round of developmental revision will be enough to get this book to a really good story place, which is crazy to say because I am not a very strong plotter. You might be able to hear Greg in the background. He's playing a game. So yeah, that is where we are sitting. It is Friday. I have so much excitement for my book. I have so much excitement for getting back into the publication world. I have not published a book since Pistol Daisy. I think that was that 2020? Yeah, it was 2020. I haven't published since 2020, so it's been 3 years now. And I'm just excited to actually be working on something of my own for a change. So let's go ahead and get comfortable, get my book going, and we're gonna continue reading and doing some developmental revisions. Everybody, happy Sunday. I haven't checked in with you for a couple of days. I think the last time I was working was Friday, and I got a lot done on Friday. I am currently sitting at, I'm working on page 108 out of 144. So I have, gosh, less than 40 pages to go, and I'll be done with this revision, this first developmental revision. I am definitely feeling a little bit tired today. Greg and I went on a 5-mile hike this morning. It was absolutely beautiful. It was a really, really nice hike, but I'm just so tired now. So I figured I'd just kind of relax, work on my book a little bit, and then we'll get this vlog wrapped up since I've been filming for a week or two now. So in terms of what I have been working on, I am really finding myself adding details, especially adding details that help to develop the world and the characters and the paranormal aspect of the world as well. I discovered, and I kind of knew when I was done with the first draft, that I hadn't put in enough detail to allow readers to understand how the paranormal element really works in this world, and I wanted to make sure that I did that in this revision. And it's really amazing how a few well-placed details can really make all the difference in terms of a vibrant world versus a world that kind of falls flat, in my opinion. So that is what I'm going to continue working on. Like I said, I'm on page 108 out of 144, and the word count is at 53,131. So we've edged into the 53K territory. I'm still thinking it'll be at about 55K when we're done. But I also vaguely recall and think that I have more work to do at the end of the draft than I did in the beginning. So we'll see if I get tripped up and slowed down at all, or if this keeps going pretty smoothly, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. All right, so I worked on my book for probably an hour until my computer was dying and I had to move it in here to my charger. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my writing day here. I revised about 10 pages. I am on page 118 out of 146, so I have less than 30 pages to go, and I will be done with the second draft. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm very happy with the progress that I'm making. I ended up rewriting the end of one chapter. It ended kind of abruptly, and it didn't answer all the questions that were kind of introduced in that chapter. So I rewrote that. I answered those questions. I kind of tied that off, so that was nice. And then in another chapter, I focused primarily on expanding dialogue. I realized that two characters hadn't been properly introduced to each other, so I wrote through that introduction instead of just telling readers like, oh, this is who she is. I wrote through that introduction, I showed it instead, and that gave me the opportunity to world build as well, because you can world build through dialogue, you know, setting description, character interactions, just everything. Everything can contribute to world building, and I am pretty happy with how that went. I tend to struggle with dialogue, so the fact that I think I did a good job with dialogue makes me pretty happy, since that is definitely not a strong suit. It's not my strong point. So that's where we're at. I have just under 30 pages left to go, and the second draft of this book will be complete. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I truly appreciate it, and I expect to finish the second draft in the next video. And then from there, maybe I will be able to give you a little bit more information about this book. We'll just see. But keep an eye out for the next video. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you haven't already and you would like to be notified when my new videos come out. And I will hopefully see you in a week or so with a completed second draft. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your writing is going well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.